The reason I'm not worried about the Browns per se is we've seen the Browns sign players over and over again, right? And I hate to say this particular statement that I'm gonna say, and there's gonna be some people mad at me if they ever see this, right? But the Browns, to me, when it comes to signing talent, they can get everybody in the world, but they just can't put it together, right? The Browns come off as the Dallas Cowboys of the AFC. All right, I'm going to tell y'all this. The top team, I don't care about all these different transactions that's going on. I don't care. The top team, there's one top team right now in the AFC, and I even say the NFL. And that team didn't even make the playoffs last season. Flock Nation speaks nation. I don't know what I want to say yet. Anyway, we're going to get there. I don't know if I want to keep the good people. I don't know. Anyway, what's up? What y'all up to today? Hope y'all doing good. Flock Nation Speaks, episode 3 for RG3 or LJ4, whichever one you like the best, I guess, since LJ tried to slide over there a little bit on the 3 club. 3 personally is my favorite number. And then once I got to a point where I couldn't wear 3, I started wearing 25 out of just complete randomness. And now 25 was one of my favorite numbers too. So here we are. Before we get into the seriousness of the conversation, let's have some fun, okay? Or maybe I should say, because some of these might be controversial, right? Some of these might be controversial. So maybe I should say, before we get into the fun, let's get into some seriousness. Look at this. Okay. This is my thought process right here. Right. I'm putting my thought process out there. Right. There is the great Coke versus Pepsi debate. Right. And the people listening, I don't want y'all to know yet. There is the great Coke versus Pepsi debate. The people watching, I spoiled it for you. There's this crazy debate, right? Coke versus Pepsi. What's the best? There are some people that won't drink Coke for whatever reason, because they like Pepsi is better, it's got a better taste, it's smoother, whatever. And then there's other people on the other side of the spectrum that say, I won't drink Coke. I won't do it. I won't drink Coke. I won't drink Pepsi. We are, first off, let's just throw it out there right here, right now. Dr. Pepper is the greatest. If you are a soda drinker, Dr. Pepper is the greatest of all time. There's no debate on that. So we might as well just go ahead and throw that out there now. But when we talk about the Coke versus Pepsi debate, to me, Coke and Pepsi are the same soda, bro. I'm just gonna throw it out there, okay? I'm just gonna throw it out there. It might be a little controversial, right? Some people might get offended. I might even get dislikes on this video because I say this, but Coke and Pepsi are literally the same. Like they are literally like, I couldn't think of 2 sodas that taste smack like each other, like Coke and Pepsi. Not Mountain Dew and Mellow Yellow. There's no comparison between them two. Goodness. Dr. Pepper and Pibb, they pretty close, but they ain't like Coke and Pepsi. People be debating Coke and Pepsi, and I'm like, how? How do you debate Coke and Pepsi when literally they are the same soda? I have never in my life went to a store and been like, you know what? I think I'm going to get Coke over Pepsi today. Whichever is the cheapest option, let me get it. I'll take a whole case. Okay, but for real though, let's get into the real conflict of conversation. Whatever, right? Ravens Flock, what's up? Flock Nation Speaks, episode 3. Let's get into the real Ravens topics. By the way, make sure you answer. I'm gonna make a poll. I'm gonna try to. I don't know how to do it on YouTube, but I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna make a poll, right? I'm gonna make a poll and you vote. Pepsi or Coke? Which one you got? Or is it the same? Is it the same? Or do they both suck? I don't know. I'm gonna make some options for y'all. Y'all vote. in that poll, wherever they put it, there. You know how the YouTubers do. There, everywhere. It'll be somewhere, right? All right, Flock Nation. There's been a lot going on. There's been a lot going on, and the Ravens ain't been at the forefront of it. Okay, free agency has been, for a lack of a better term, it's been a little crazy. It's been a little crazy now. Free agency has been wild. I'm gonna try to pull up the NFL's Instagram just because there's so much going on. Like, I can't even really keep up. Like, there's so much going on. I can't keep up. I literally cannot keep up with what's going on. Let's start. I mean, I know, of course, last week, right? We jumped into Russ, coming to the AFC. Rice, right? Russ came to the AFC. He gonna play for the Broncos, and then it seemed like the Chiefs or somebody over there in Kansas City got nervous because Tyreek Hill ended up slipping through the cracks. And I was like, okay, what is going on? Let me pull it up for y'all real quick, just so y'all can see, in case y'all ain't been hip to it. We're gonna pull it up real quick. Look, so first off, I mean, we of course got the Broncos, right? The Broncos picking up Russ, huge pickup, right? Huge pickup, completely changes their trajectory for the year, right? Right? Because I want to talk about the AFC. Simply because the reason I want to talk about the AFC so much is because things have changed so much. Tyreek Hill is off the doggone Chiefs. Russ is on the Broncos. Juju is on the Chiefs. Juju and Jackson Mahomes gonna be hitting the little I don't even know the dances, but they're gonna be hitting them, right? They're gonna be hitting the dances together. They might not, Juju might not catch a football this year, but he's gonna be doing some dances on midfield. I'm gonna tell you all that now. In all seriousness, there's been a lot of crazy stuff going on. You got Juju, right? First off, let's start with Juju. You got Juju going to Kansas City. And then you shift up a couple of days and Tyreek Hill is gone. So Kansas City think they got a pretty good physical number one receiver now to go with Tyreek Hill, who was their true number one, right? And then Tyreek Hill, the deal stalls. They can't figure out what they want to do with Tyreek Hill. So Tyreek Hill's gone. Okay, Chiefs in shambles, right? Rip to the Chiefs. Let's just go ahead and say it, right? Rip to the Chiefs. Of course, you got the Broncos. So now that makes that division that much more interesting. Kind of makes it a little bit more even too, because I mean, now you're gonna have a lot of teams with very young weapons. Of course, you got you got the Chargers too. I think they signed somebody, if I'm not mistaken, too. And I ain't even gonna talk about the NFC because I know like the Rams, they trying to retool. Of course, the Darius Smith staying in the NFC. Like, I ain't gonna talk about the NFC. I ain't even gonna talk about that today. But the Dolphins, right? The Dolphins made the splash too. Of course, they got Teron Armstead, but also the Dolphins picked up Tyreek Hill. So pairing him with Jalen Waddle, pairing him with Devante Parker, who looks like they may be even trying to move because they got too many weapons, right? Because they got the ultimate game changer in Tyreek Hill, the ultimate game changer in Tyreek Hill. So that was huge for them. Then you got Matt Ryan, right? Let's pull this up. Matt Ryan signing to the Colts, right? Shout out to NFL. Shout out to the NFL on Instagram, keeping us updated. You saw I make a graphic, but like, there's just so much going on. I don't think I can fit it all in one graphic. Matt Ryan, right? Matt Ryan to the Colts. Now, albeit talked about this before, the ultimate, how can you say this? The ultimate scapegoat in Carson Wentz got up out of there, right? They dipped him on out of there to Washington, so he in the NFC now. But then you got Matt Ryan, who is now a member of the Indianapolis Colts, which I think is huge because they get Matt Ryan for probably 1 or 2 years, right? So they're doing the same thing pretty much they did with Phillip Rivers, getting him for 1 or 2 years, hoping he makes the playoffs, hoping he makes a playoff run or can mentor the guy behind them, right? But I don't think Matt Ryan, to me, I like Matt Ryan. I've always had a problem with Matt Ryan. And if anybody of course, if anybody knows me being a Ravens fan, of course, too, if anybody knows me, I am a huge Joe Flacco fan. So because Matt Ryan and Joe Flacco are in the same draft class, there was always those comparisons. And I'm like, but Joe Flacco won in the playoff. And everybody's like, but Matt Ryan got the stats. But I'm like, but Joe Flacco, I mean, he got the Super Bowl, though. The Super Bowl MVP. He got one of the best runs in the playoffs there ever was. All Matt Ryan did, well, to that point, right, he hadn't really done nothing. But all Matt Ryan did was get to the Super Bowl and blow a 28-3 lead. That's all Matty Ice did, okay? See, I had an issue with Matty Ice. He's went through some of his trials and tribulations a little bit lately, right? So I'm a little bit better about Matt Ryan now than I was before, right? Before I was a little bit like, I don't really like Matt Ryan like that, right? I wasn't a huge fan of Matty Ice, but he coming to the AFC should make I think it makes the Colts better, but I don't think it makes them leaps and bounds better, right? I don't, and continuing like who's getting better, who's not. Of course, you got the Browns. The Browns grabbed Deshaun Watson, huge pickup. Something else came out with him today in terms of the grand jury got to vote on something. So that's another thing like that factors into that situation, right? How is that going to play out? Is he going to be suspended? Like what's going to happen? He hasn't played in a year. Not to say he's going to lose a step, but still he hasn't played in a year. What's going to happen with that situation, right? And then if something does happen, with that situation, and let's just say they do trade Baker, then the Browns going to be looking around like this, right? They're going to be trying to figure out what in the world they're supposed to do. So they're definitely hoping that that just came out like today. Of course, like we said, Tyreek Hill pairing up with Jalen Waddle. It's going to be a pretty fast duo. Malcolm Butler goes back to the Patriots. Nothing too crazy. Like I don't see no Ravens news in here, right? Like I'm looking for it. I'm waiting. Marquez Valdes-Scantling goes to Kansas City, so trying to help out a little bit with that whole situation, right? Like that's another thing. Like they trying to help out with that whole situation, right? So the losing wide receivers now. Marquez gonna go over there and try to go off. I don't know. Personally, between him and Juju, they're not gonna make up what Tyreek Hill did. Number one, but number two. I just don't think I don't think Marquez Valdes-Scantling is that good. I think he was that good because of Aaron Rodgers, and I'm not even the biggest Aaron Rodgers put him on a pedestal type of a guy. I respect what he's done, and I think his stats and his consistency speaks for itself. But at the same time, I'm not a put Aaron Rodgers on the GOAT pedestal type of person. So back to it, right? Back to it. For me in the AFC, right, you got the Browns. The Browns drastically improved, right? You got the Dolphins, right? The Dolphins drastically improved. Then, of course, you got the Bengals. They picked up somebody, and I can't remember for the life of me who it was. I think it was Hayden Hurst. They picked up Hayden Hurst. They already got weapons galore when it comes to receivers, so they didn't have to worry about that. But I remember they picked up Hayden Hurst. That was probably last week too. So they picked up Hayden Hurst, who was an underrated tight end. I think they still got Uzama, if I'm not mistaken. And he had gotten injured, so he's gonna be coming back. So having Hayden Hurst kind of to back him up or spell him out a little bit is gonna be big for them. But my personal opinion, really though, the top team in the AFC, and I mean you should know by the title of the podcast, right? You should know, even just taking my fandom out of it, and I will take my fandom out of it, but to put my fandom right in it, right? The Ravens are the top team in the AFC. There's nobody's touching the Ravens. An injury depleted team last year, right, was top 5 in both categories on the offensive scheme, right? Run game, passing game, top 5 in both, scoring at a high clip the whole, pretty much that whole first part of the season, right? And of course, I know, and I get it. Like you thinking, okay, the Dolphins got better on offense, right? The defense is already good, so how y'all gonna worry about that, right? And I get that. I completely understand that. I understand what you're saying. Like I'm reading your mind right now, right? You probably ain't even watching while I'm recording it, but I'm still reading your mind right now. Okay, I get it. But you got to remember that scheme was Brian Flores' scheme, right? So take Brian Flores out of the equation. Now you don't know what that defense is going to be, right? Now you have no idea what that defense is going to be, because it's not going to be the same scheme. They're not running that cover zero scheme because that scheme is specifically designed by Brian Flores, and I don't see that necessarily returning. They're not going to be that aggressive because I don't think they're going to know how to play that scheme. That's my biggest issue with them is number one, the Dolphins aren't going to reach the potential that they want to reach because they don't have a quarterback that they believe in. Even though I love Tua, they don't. Right? They don't have. They already been shopping for Deshaun Watson. They don't have a quarterback that they believe in, and they're not going to develop him to get any better because they already have turned their back on Tua 2-3 years into his career. So that's a recipe for disaster right there. You might as well just go ahead and cut it off. Right, you might as well just go ahead and cut it off and go in a different direction. Than if you're not going to believe in the guy that you got under center, under center. And then, right, the defensive end. What are they going to do on defense? Right, what are they going to do on defense? We already know the Ravens going to come back with a solid offense. I mean, the Ravens offense is going to be top 5, top 10 regardless. Right? Whether they rushing the ball, running the ball, they're going to be top 10, when it comes to overall, and they're going to score points. We know that, right? Under Lamar Jackson, that's all this team does is score points. And you think with a full offseason to figure out whatever the issues were with the cover zero, which I think is probably less about Lamar and more about Greg Roman getting the play into his offense so they can get to the line in time. That's where my biggest thing is. Let's get to the line so Lamar can check the blitz, right? And he can kill the play, right? Let's do that. Right. So a whole off season to figure that out, and then the defense coming back healthy. And I don't think the Ravens are done. They either they probably are definitely going to draft somebody else. And I don't know. I don't know how I feel about Bobby Wagner. Right. Them bringing him in if that's what they decide to do. I don't know if they will do that. I don't think it ever hurts. Anything. There's one more guy that I'm losing sight of. That's a big free agent that they can bring in too. But is it Gilmore? I don't think Gilmore's been signed yet, if I'm not mistaken. But you got that aspect too, right? So I mean, to me, like the Ravens are just gonna get better. And honestly, I want people to forget about the Ravens, right? For real. Honestly, I want people to talk about the Bengals. I want people to talk about the Chiefs. I want people to talk about the Browns. I want people to talk about the Dolphins. I want people to talk about the Broncos. I want people to talk about the Chargers. I want people to talk about every team that isn't named the Baltimore Ravens, right? The entire offseason. Just completely let's fade to black, right? Completely just forget about the Baltimore Ravens. Because the thing is, when the Baltimore Ravens are in games, whether they're healthy or not. So just imagine a healthy Baltimore Ravens team, right? A healthy Baltimore Ravens team is at least getting to the playoffs. That's a fact, and that's a fact, and there's no debate on that. There's absolutely zero debate. A not even healthy Baltimore Ravens team last year was literally in the playoff hunt the last week, and they lost every single solitary player you ever could think of. So I'm not worried about that. Not worried about that. So when it comes to the rest of the AFC, I just don't think I'm not saying it's not going to be competitive, because of course it's going to be competitive, right? The Chiefs are still going to be are still going to be good. They're going to miss Tyreek Hill, right? They're going to miss Tyreek Hill. It's going to, it's just like he has not only game-changing speed, but just game-changing ability. Tyreek Hill is a guy you give the football to 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and he's 70 yards downfield like it's nothing, right? He's got that game-changing speed. He y'all remember what was it? Was it NBA Jam? They used to have the game breakers, right? In NBA Jam, they used to have the game breakers, right? Where you had to earn it. Like Tyreek Hill is an automatic game breaker once he steps on the field. And trust me, as a Ravens fan, I've seen it time and time again, right? I've seen it time and time again. But can the Dolphins put it together, right? Let's talk about the AFC North real quick, because that's really where it starts, right? That's really where it starts. You got the Steelers. They picked up Mitch Trubisky. They picked up Miles Jack. You also got, the Browns. They picked up Deshaun Watson. Of course, you returning Myles Garrett. They hoping to return Jadeveon, I'm pretty sure. I think that could be a big loss for them if they don't, because I think even what Jadeveon doesn't do in numbers, I think he does in, just being there, right? The fact that Jadeveon is there, you still got to respect him. So Jadeveon is another. Of course, that offense is still going to go, and it should be better with Deshaun being able to make the throws. Now, albeit, I said this in my Baker video. I don't really know. Somebody's going to get upset, right? They're going to either have to start throwing the football to Nick Chubb, or they're gonna have to just be okay with running the ball as much as they do. I don't see them running the ball as much as they do with Deshaun Watson, because somebody, either Nick Chubb or Deshaun Watson, is gonna get mad. And now, albeit, if I had to pick one way or the other, I'm gonna probably pick Deshaun as an elite quarterback to kind of run with, as opposed to Nick Chubb, right? Because not to say that running backs aren't important, because they are. Trust me, I watch a run first offense every Sunday. But at the same time, I'm gonna pick an electrifying quarterback over an electrifying running back, right? Every time. I mean, I talked about it in the Baker video. It's hard to be top 5 in both, right? It's hard. You gotta pick one or the other. So, and I think that might honestly could it can force us to see the end of what we know as the Cleveland Browns as a run first team, if that's the direction they go. But the reason I'm not worried about the Browns per se is we've seen the Browns sign players over and over again, right? And I hate to say this particular statement that I'm gonna say, and there's gonna be some people mad at me if they ever see this, right? But the Browns, to me, when it comes to signing talent, they can get everybody in the world, but they just can't put it together, right? The Browns come off as the Dallas Cowboys of the AFC, right? So, especially as of late, right? So much hype around them. They signed every good player. They got all the talent in the world, but can't put it together. Can't win the big game, right? That's the thing, right? That's the thing that's the biggest issue that comes up, right? That's the biggest issue that comes up, is the fact that the Browns are a good team, right? The Browns are a good team, but at the same time, the Browns can't put it together. That's the biggest thing. The Browns can't put it together to have that opportunity to do exactly what they need to do. For those of you watching, my camera went dead, didn't have a backup battery in this time. So, enjoy the beautiful graphic of where you can see us, Flock Nation Speaks, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Of course, you can subscribe to the YouTube channel, brought to you by Bill Productions, and all that good jazz. Let's jump into the Steelers. I ain't worried about, because I don't think they really believe in Mitch. I think this is a 1 year where they're going to try to, crack 500 and hope that their defense can carry them to the playoffs. That's why I'm not worried about the Steelers. All right. So the Browns are going to have all the talent in the world, but they're not going to be able to put it together. The Steelers, to me, this is my opinion. The Steelers, to me, they're going to probably end up being somewhere near 500 if they're lucky. And I think that's simply just because of their defense. I do like Mitch, but I like Mitch a lot. I really do. And I think under the right coaching staff, he could be really successful. But that's a wait and see situation, right? Mitch in a Steelers uniform is a wait and see situation. It just is, right? And then, of course, you got the Bengals, right? The returning, AFC North champs, right? The returning champs of the AFC in general, representing the AFC in the Super Bowl. You got the Bengals. How do I feel about the Bengals? I don't want to say the Bengals are one-hit wonders, because number one, the Bengals got all the talent in the world, right? But there is, for my liking, a little bit more pressure on the Bengals than they probably want to have on them, right? Last year could turn out to be an anomaly for the Bengals, simply because they weren't expected to be there, and now they were. And the fact that they lost the Super Bowl is not a kind sight to have on your side, right? History does not do you well when you lose a Super Bowl, right? The Chiefs have made it farther than anybody in quite some time who lost the Super Bowl the year before. And the Chiefs even had their struggles throughout the season. So, and I think the Chiefs were just one of those teams where their talent just surpassed some of the mistakes that they were making early on in the season. They can make that adjustment. I don't know if the Bengals have a really talented young team, but I don't know if the Bengals can overcome the fact that, number one, the AFC got better, right? The AFC got better. The AFC North got better. And because Mitch is a better option right now than Ben Roethlisberger was last season and the last 2 seasons. So every team in the AFC North got better. And the Ravens got better, not even from a free agency perspective because they did, but also the Ravens got better because they're going to actually be healthy next year, right? They're not going to be missing their top 3 running backs and trying to run a run-first offense. So I think the Bengals could be a one-year wonder, a one-hit wonder, right? You know, they could be a one-hit wonder for this season. They could be the first to worst style team. Now, do I expect them to finish worst? No. But at the same time, not every team from the AFC North, as good as the AFC North is, can make the playoffs. So with that being said, you also have to remember that somebody's got to be on the outside looking in. And I can tell you one thing, it's not going to be the team from Baltimore with the harbor right next to their stadium. I can tell you that. As always, hope you guys enjoyed the show. Sorry I had to go audio only for my video watchers. Sorry I had to go audio only for my video watchers. But I will tell y'all this. We'll be back week after week with Flock Nation Speaks. I come with a nice charged battery for you next time. Okay, I ain't gonna be sleeping on the job. But if you haven't already, if you are watching on YouTube, be sure to go listen to. Take it to work with you. If you got a long drive, you got a long workout, take it with you. Listen to it in the morning when you get up. Whatever, however you got to do it. Make sure you're listening. Apple Podcast, Spotify, Anchor. As usual, YouTube, you can watch us too. I'm on TikTok too. Post some clips from on TikTok from time to time. Should be Flock Nation Speaks on there too. So be sure to make sure that you are tuned in every form or fashion. As always, DJ here, coming right at you. We will see you guys on the next episode of Flock Nation Speaks. And be sure to leave in the comments too. This is for, of course, this is for the Flock Nation to have their platform too. So be sure that you are talking in the comments. Also, your favorite soda too. Make sure you throw that out there. Right. What's your favorite soda? But also, which one is better? Coke or Pepsi? They the same. And the Ravens will win the AFC. The Ravens will win the AFC. Until